We're all back at WWB episode 41. Roman Reigns is on a tight schedule. Where does Damian Priest fit into the championship picture? Jack Perry is back. Run the intro.
And we're back. All of us together around the table once again. Episode 41, Wrestling with the Business. Got a lot of stuff to go over this week now that we're all back together and feeling good. Before we get into it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We're putting out a bunch more content coming up. What are you pointing at my belt for?
You were trying to take a week off from having that belt in front of us. What he was doing.
Actually, I have big news before we get too deeply into it. Our Twitter followers officially exceeded the number that we are following today.
Nice.
That's always a good sign. You got to have that positive ratio. That's an important thing.
We are finally, after 41 episodes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the black.
Look at that.
So I don't know how many of them are bots. Probably between 90 and 99% of them are bots. But yes, let's not go the other way. So
Awesome.
follow us on Twitter too. Wrestle with Biz.
I take it you're not following any additional people now.
That's it. You're done.
Protocols. I can't do it.
That depends on how many people continue to follow us. So you get to decide how many people we follow.
Well, if you follow us, you'll find out we got a new episode of Falls Count Anywhere coming up this week now that we're all back and up and running. And we got a bunch of stuff coming up in the next few weeks, new shows, new content, all that good stuff. So let's get right into the news and rumors, headlines, talk about what's going on. Start with Dan's favorite, WWE. Some nice news coming out for a change for WWE. Let's start with this. A new project is being launched by WWE to commemorate the life and times of Bray Wyatt. No official word yet what that project fully entails, but they've already recorded some interviews with his brother Bo Dallas and Jason Baker, who's the guy who made the Fiend mask and reportedly the Uncle Howdy mask too. So it sounds like that should be pretty cool.
A&E biography special would be my guess, something like that.
That there was speculation it would end up that way, or it would end up on their YouTube channels.
Something like that.
Yep.
I bet you WrestleMania time.
It's weird because they're starting to announce Hall of Fame.
Usually around Rumble they start announcing. Yeah,
I'd be interested to see if he's the first guy.
I would assume.
I would assume that they would maybe link those two together. Like the fact that they've already started the project this soon would indicate that he's going to be the first guy up, and they'll do something as part of his induction.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he's earned a Hall of Fame induction, even if he just
so.
got injured and retired or something. He's earned it. So
yeah, I would say he's a direct. He should be in first year. I don't know why wait. What would be the let's wait 2-3 years? It should be an automatic. He's in this year in my eyes.
I mean, there have been a lot of guys that are in right after they die for no other reason.
He was a current superstar, past champion,
multi-champion, two of the best gimmicks in the business. So
that'll be nice to see. Something else that came out this week I thought was pretty funny. Undertaker did an interview in which part of it he said Vince McMahon still gives him a hard time, is still pissed off that he didn't do the spin-a-rooney on that one episode of, was it SmackDown, I think?
Yeah, from like 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah. Was it Raw?
I think it was wrong. I think it was after the show, too. If I'm not mistaken. I think it was all like they're in the ring fooling around. I could be wrong.
It was during the show.
Was it during the show? Yeah, I remember there was a whole thing after the show where like Triple H and The Rock did
everybody was coming out.
Yeah.
That was during the American Badass, right?
Right.
And he had taken such a hit. You know, if he had probably waited a decade to try that, you might have gotten him to do it. But that American Badass period was so fraught for him. That was not a good look for him.
I disagree.
I think he hated it. I think he didn't like it at all.
I think he liked it because it was more in line with his actual personality. He could be himself.
Sure, but it wasn't Undertaker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're already taking him out of his element. You're trying to make him an American Badass, and then him do the spin-a-rooney. I don't know, man. That's a little too.
I like the American Badass gimmick.
Really?
I was a fan of that one. I liked it.
I liked it when it first started because it was different, but I think it got old quick.
But when I first started watching, that's the only version I really knew. And when I started watching wrestling, it was like 1998, 99. So I saw a little bit of the old Undertaker. The
Barely.
original.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then he
clipsed.
disappeared for a while.
Mhm.
He was injured, then he returned, I think, in what, 2000?
One, maybe?
Yeah,
And
something like that.
then all what, to like 20...
He went back to Dead Man in 2004, so he
Yeah,
did
so-
a few different incarnations.
My core small period of watching nonstop, it was American Badass. You know, 2004
Well, no,
on.
American Badass was like in 2000 because he was
Yeah,
doing Limp
yeah.
Bizkit and
Yep,
Kid
yeah,
Rock and
yeah.
everything else. So 2000,
And
2001.
then really, those 2006 to 12 were like the cold year. I didn't want wrestling. WWE was horrible at that time. They're the only one around, really. And then, you know, TNA was around, but I didn't watch it. But long story, but.
So sticking with WWE, we've had a few more injuries pop up. Recently at a NXT house show, Cora Jade got injured after just returning from injury. She was out for a while, but this is bringing up talk about their training policies in NXT because a lot of women have been going down with ACL injuries, especially. I think there was a list here.
And they all seem to be joint injuries, actually. Not just ACL, but like shoulders and elbows and...
Yeah,
that's
Wendy
weird.
Chu, Nikita Lyons, Sol Ruka. We know Tegan Knox has been injured multiple times. She's had wicked bad knees for several years. But, I mean, there's this speculation and this criticism has been brought up in the past, too, with the way they train their people.
Let me try and get us into a little bit of trouble here. The talent that there's two huge changes that I've seen in the last few years, especially in WWE, but across the industry as a whole. A lot of the girls that they're bringing in are bigger. They're bigger girls now. Willow, Nia Jax, they're just bigger in general. Actually, even Charlotte Flair, by female standards, is large. So there's inherent risk there associated with it. Man or woman, when you're in the wrestling ring with Yokozuna or The Undertaker, there's inherent more risk than if you're in there with Rey Mysterio, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that's happening is ever since, I think, what is this, the third or fourth next in line class that they've done, they've started bringing people in to develop them. These are people without wrestling backgrounds. These are cheerleaders and sprinters and hurdlers and baseball players and softball players. And where are they going? They're going into NXT. And they're learning, but are they kind of being thrown into the deep end? And you know, this is basically a meat grinder situation where you're bringing these people in that haven't been doing it since they're 12 years old or 10 years old or even 18 years old. These are people that have only watched it on television and love it, that now have an opportunity to get involved with it. And, you know, they're getting thrown into NXT and now they're getting hurt. And the women get hurt first, which doesn't surprise me at all. But, I mean, it's the nature of the beast. Like, they're kind of turning it into a meat grinder a little bit.
So is it actually a training issue, or is it just...
I think it's
What
a
do you
little
think?
bit of both.
These aren't overuse injuries. If they were overuse injuries, I'd be like, well, maybe the schedule is a little tough. I mean,
I
these
think
are movement-related injuries. These are, again, it's joints. It's soft tissue around the joint. So these are
I mean,
movement-related
it's
issues.
either health, either like they're not eating the right things, or like, you know, maybe, you know, if it's bone related, or I mean, it's just, you know,
Right, they're not breaking bones. This is not impact or blunt
I
force
think it really
related
comes down
injuries.
to I really think it comes down to training, in the sense of they're just not really being properly trained, and I think they're being too quickly trained. And it's like Jeremy kind of said, maybe we agree on this for once, is that they're kind of being rushed a little bit. It's kind of like, here's a process, you sign in, you go through all here, and we're gonna spit you out over here, and you're ready to go. Like, it seems like it's kind of turned into like an overall, like,
It's
you know,
assembly line.
Yeah, like it's instead of like really thoroughly like training and understanding like how to land and how to, like, you know, when they're going off the turnbuckle, how to land under 2 feet, how to, like, you know, it seems like a lot of it is just misplacement, which is causing injuries in various spots. So
Yeah.
Stevie Richards did an interesting video this week. I don't know if you saw it,
Mm-mm.
on why. Oh my gosh, it's escaping me now. But there was a spot where one guy was going up and basically trying to do a move off of the ropes, like a springboard type move off the ropes, and he landed on his head. I can't remember who it was. But
Oh,
he
it
was-
was the the Spanish Fly with Austin Theory.
Austin Theory,
and
yes. So, and he landed on his head. And what he said
Carmelo
is
Hayes.
WWE uses different ropes than most other places do. Those ropes have less spring to them because they're softer and they don't carry as much tension. And because of that, he landed on his head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a benefit to that. I mean, the rope is way less likely to break if you're bouncing up against it or running up on top of it or something. And if you're Undertaker standing on top of the top rope, okay, you want to have a give and not break. But if you're trying to gain any kind of momentum from that, if you're John Morrison trying to do your finisher off of that, it's not going to do you any good, and it creates risk in other areas too. So another idea.
You know, you mentioned the Next in Line program, and we've talked about it a few times. We need to look and see how many of those people they brought in for that program are actually still there, because I'm almost positive the first class is almost completely washed out.
It's kind of hard to track too, because they do the announcement and then it's not like they get added to a roster somewhere where you can
Right.
kind of track. It's just like, hey, these people are in our program, and then there's no real follow-up over like what happened to them. Yeah, they wash out. Like the only way you would know is just to look and see if eventually they make some kind of premiere. Like
I'm almost positive the entire first class they brought in were like part of the mass firings at one point.
Like weren't they teasing those twins? Were they like basketball twins or something?
Yes, the blondes.
That was like 6 months ago, right? They
Mhm.
teased that. I haven't seen them. They
Nope.
haven't made any kind of splash.
Because Vince isn't there anymore.
Maybe, right? Yeah, they definitely looked like they catered to a particular taste.
So, sticking with the injury news, Charlotte Flair put out a video this week that I thought Dan would appreciate. Showed she was doing some working out 12 days after her surgery. So, looks like she might be making her way back early.
Working
Yeah,
out.
but it takes. I think it hurts me because I think the whole point is I think they knew.
You kind of thought it was like a bit of a work, like an
I mean, not a
oversell.
work, but I think it was kind of like, no. Look, if you're in the business of creating surprise returns, okay, and that's your only job, you're gonna say, okay, Charlotte Flair just got injured. We're gonna say it's gonna take 9
Yeah,
months.
she's going to be out for
But
forever.
really, it's gonna take about 6, and it's gonna be a surprise return 6 months instead of 9. So she's already trying to. I mean, it kind of takes away from that surprise element, but it could lead to. I mean, they already kind of publicized that it's gonna take. 9 months? 10 months? What did they say? 9 months, I think.
Something like that. October.
They said October.
October. So I mean, 8 months. So yeah, I mean, he could come back. I think the return is still a possibility.
You know, the other thing is that you don't want to completely lose. I mean, you don't want to disappear. You want to stay in some kind of light, you know? And I mean, what are you going to talk about except your rehab to come back? So
Think her husband will debut before?
I don't know what I mean, he would either, I mean, why would you sign a guy like that just to not use him for 9 months? You know, I don't
Well,
know.
he hasn't signed yet.
Theoretically, he
but-
hasn't signed.
I think he'll be at the Royal Rumble.
No, that's true.
Yeah, he'd
That
be a
could
good
be.
He'll
Royal
be a
Rumble.
surprise at the Royal Rumble.
He'd be a good
That
Royal
would be a good one.
Although I don't think he'd get much of a pop.
No, I don't think so.
The local people might get it. It's a surprise. I mean, but I don't think it's gonna be like
Where is
Edge.
Is he from Florida?
No.
He probably lives there now, but
Yeah, he definitely lives there now, which is another reason to.
all right. So something interesting happened at Raw this week. They were coming from an arena in Arkansas, and they had to completely change the lighting and the stage and everything because the roof of the arena couldn't support the lighting rigs that they usually used. And then there was snow on the roofs. They were worried about the weight capacity and all that. I just thought that was weird because don't they have people who plan these kind of things ahead of time?
Well, I think a
before
lot.
they go
I
to
think
a
a lot
building?
of it was the weather and the snow. I think it was the snow was adding more weight to it, and the weight of the sound bar, and all that going up there. I think they were concerned that it could be too much weight.
Right,
'Cause
but
they hang
even
it from the
still,
ceiling. So they technically, if I had to guess a design, they probably hang it from the ceiling.
the lighting,
that's,
yeah.
that's weight pulling down the ceiling, and with the amount of snow, I don't know, but I heard it was a substantial amount. With the amount of snow on the roof, they were probably, I think they were just concerned with the amount of weight. And because it was first advertised as all new sets, right? Oh,
Right.
Raw has all new sets, and then it kind of came out like, no, these were modified for.
Day of.
And I actually I read about it Monday night at like 11:30. And I actually pulled up YouTube TV to go back and see what the new setup looked like. I'm like, I don't know if I really like it. And everyone's like, oh, this is the new setup with no Kevin Dunn. And everyone's like, and then like the next morning it was kind of revealed like, no, this is just because of weather.
Even still, though, even if it was weather related, I feel like they still normally would have people to have a contingency plan or whatever.
I mean, to be fair, they've never. That's the first time I've ever seen them altering the set for any. I mean, so I think it's just a weird situation with. I guess some talent couldn't get there either because of the weather. I don't know what talent was missing.
I know DIY got there just like really late. They had to end up driving because their flights were canceled or whatever. But
it's been a crazy week of weather across the whole United States. So
where were they?
They were in Arkansas,
which got all that snow, I think.
Little Rock got all that snow?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, last bit of WWE news here. It was announced that they have a new collaboration with American Corporate Partners, which is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering returning veterans and active duty spouses through one-on-one professional development mentorship programs. So working with the veterans, I think that's pretty cool.
So Make-A-Wish, but for adults.
Is that what it is?
That's what it sounds like to me. I mean,
well, good on them.
Sounds like corporate speak, but...
What other WWE news you said you had? What else you got?
Just one piece that they're teasing 2K24.
That's right. 2K24 is coming out this
122. There it seems to be Undertaker themed. There's some pictures of coffin teasers maybe with some Undertaker colors.
I must say, out of all the 2K games, 2K23 is my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm a big component of the GM mode. So they had that in SmackDown versus Raw 2003 to 2005. It's a great mode. You create your own wrestling. You run your own show. You do what you want to do. You create your own champions, your own storylines. And this past season, they really did a good job integrating a lot of you draft your roster. You have a certain amount of budget. You gotta get fans to watch your show. You gotta advertise the superstars. You gotta buy what pyro you want, what type of graphics you want. You pick Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or WCW. Then there's 3 other general managers you have to compete with every week. It's neat. You create your own, and you can build a rivalry after every week, and the stars go up. If you get a 5-star rivalry, you have them fight at a pay-per-view, and it ends it. And the crowd has a big reaction. It's by far the best, and you can sign free agents like Brock Lesnar at the last minute for a 5-week contract. It's by far the best GM mode they had. So it's one of my favorites, this past one. I really hope they keep that in there. So that's what I'm looking for. It used to be one of my biggest pet peeves in the video game world for 10 years, is that WWE just would not. And it was them being stubborn, because they would not put the GM mode back in the game. And everybody wanted it.
Sounds expensive. Sounds like a lot of coding.
No, it was just them being trolls. They don't want to deal with people who want to create their own wrestling world. They just say they get mad at people who are like, oh, why don't you do that?
We make the content.
Yeah, we make the content. They didn't want to let people have that. So they for a long time they just didn't do it. Even though it was the most requested thing of any game out there. It was there all these people trying to sign petitions, and they finally brought it in. So and this is after 2K, I think, in 2020 had the worst game ever.
Yeah,
and WWE was like, we're gonna pull it from you guys, and 2K came back and really put the last couple games have been pretty good. So I'm curious to see what they add on to it this one. They're on a roll right now.
I still prefer WWF No Mercy.
That's an old one.
It's a good one. It's the best one.
Mine was SmackDown. I was a PlayStation guy, so I like WWF SmackDown, the first ever one. That was my favorite.
The initial Twitter calls are that they bring back the Buried Alive match. That's what people want to see. That's what I'm seeing now, at least. So.
All right, let's get into some AEW news.
Oh, I got the bathroom break for me.
Wow. Guess you didn't enjoy that pay-per-view a couple weeks ago, huh? Warner Brothers Discovery released an article this week, or a statement rather, praising AEW and the work they've been doing in the channels with the demos and the ratings.
Interesting.
They especially attributed demo growth to AEW and to their shows.
I believe I did share a article with both of you. What is it? Late last week or early this week about how Amazon is showing some more interest in Raw. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
That would be, I don't know what you're getting at there, but that would be a very, very Debbie Downer if it went to Amazon.
Yeah. For you, it'd be a
No,
huge
just for
Debbie
anybody.
Downer.
Like, you go watch Raw on TV. I don't want to go on Amazon. We've been down this discussion before.
I
I'm
know.
not interested in going to an Amazon app to pull up Monday Night Raw.
Has this been a ring the bell yet?
I mean,
No.
we went.
This
Remember
was sort
we had
of
this
our
whole
first-
thing where Jeremy had this showdown with me about the Amazon thing. He goes, "There's a 55 million people that have Amazon." He went on this whole big thing about it. Remember that?
Your voice got high pitched. Jeez.
Well,
It was this whole big thing. I'm
when you
not
got
going
your
down
nuts in a
there.
vice
I
grip.
don't want to buy Amazon. I don't want to get Prime and do all that. I want to watch it right on TV.
Don't you already have Prime?
Yeah, but it's not the point. I don't like to go on there and I don't do it for Thursday Night Football. I mean, it's ridiculous. He has that grin on his face right now, where he's just sitting there like a troll.
my boomer parents are about to cancel their cable subscription, and you're still clinging to it.
I'm not clinging
You
to it.
bitter
Nope,
clinger.
Wrong.
You're a bitter
I don't
clinger.
have cable. I have YouTube TV, and I'm fine with that. Okay, the basic cable is done. That is done. Going and buying the cable box and Spectrum is done. I'm talking about the whole idea now. How are they going to keep track of ratings? Amazon doesn't report them. So how are you going to keep track of them? Like, how you even get any demographic?
That's great. That would be great, because if your ratings are consistently dropping year over year, it'd be
And
great
you
to
and
put
I
them in a
both
place where
know
you can hide them.
Wrestling fans are like NASCAR fans, and while you may have got some heat for your comment earlier, I may get a little heat here. The average median salary or household income of wrestling fans, I don't think is that high. It's not that. So people aren't going to be buying the Amazon Prime app to watch Monday Night Raw.
You're right. They aren't going to be buying it because they already have it.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Move on. Move on. Next topic.
So, some praise from Warner Brothers. Conversely,
Good for them.
Collision this week is one of its lowest ratings, down around 400,000.
Yeah, it didn't do
No.
well.
And Battle of the Belts 9 had a new low in the demo, which I didn't write down.
Because it was very bad. I saw it 231. I'm reaching. It might not have been, but it was very low.
So I guess that just points to what I've said in the past, how the ratings aren't necessarily high, but the shows themselves are, for the night, they're in the top 3 or 5 or whatever it is that Warner Brothers is looking at.
Yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers specifically commented on their good performance in the demographic.
They're trying to keep it happy. Everyone's happy and everything goes lucky. When they lose the NBA rights, they're going to bring over Monday Night Raw. It doesn't mean AEW doesn't stay at Warner Brothers. They could. I don't know.
That'd be tough.
Ship AEW to TBS and keep Raw on TNT. You don't know. I mean, they're two different channels. I mean, it's not like they can't be. They get a little bit of both. They get a little cheddar cheese from both of them. But I think Raw.
You think Raw would do that? You think
Right.
Raw wouldn't have exclusivity across WBD?
They maybe. I don't think. I don't know. Look, if I'm Warner Brothers and I'm going to drop $1.5 million, I'll get whatever I want. I'm not going to have I'm not going to have Raw get exclusive rights. I'll be able to put whatever content. If I'm Warner Brothers and you're, again, we go back to this, when we play our roles. If I'm Warner Brothers and you're Triple H, I'll give you $1.5 million, but you get no rights. I do what I want to do. I'm paying you what you want. That's it.
Yeah, I think it
I'll
would
sign
cost,
whatever I want to sign. Doesn't matter.
I think it would cost more than that, but
Warner Brothers is going to say, "Oh, you want exclusive rights," and you're going to cut your price down.
I mean, exclusivity is not unheard of. That's not some wild request. That's very standard type thing. So you're not, if you're going to pay $1.5 billion for like basic stuff, like that doesn't seem. Again, that's what's so crazy.
And that's
It's
what
not
they're
like you're
showing.
asking.
I was reading earlier that they think cage seats has cage size seats that they think Raw is going to go to Warner Brothers in the fall. They think Warner Brothers is going to lose NBA, which will probably go to more of
Amazon.
NBC or Amazon or even Disney. People want People want the NBA right now. They're going to spend a lot of money on it, and I think that's where we'll see where Warner. It's a bidding war. I don't know why. I got to find out when this bidding war ends for NBA. That's going to be. It's going to be like a dominoes. Whenever NBA announces what they're doing, like within a week, everyone's going to start announcing their backup plans or whatever. Like, they'll get that call. Hey, we're signing with Disney. Okay. Hey, WWE, we're buying Raw. We're ready to go. Like, it's going to be a matter of like, it's going to be like a 2-week cycle when everything gets announced.
NBA's current rights deal ends after the 2024-2025 season.
But when they got to announce it by, it's got to be this year at some point.
Well, I would think that by the time the season starts, which won't be till October, I mean, that would kind of be the drop dead. Like,
well, when's Raw
October
ends
is
in October?
yeah,
Raw
that's when
September,
Raw
October.
It's got to be in the spring. It's got to be a spring announcement. I mean, they're not going to announce in September that Raw is going over to Warner Brothers. It's going to be. There's got to be at least 5 months of marketing. It's going to be this spring where they have to announce it.
Yeah, and then again, you'd have this weird overlay where you're still working because you have that 1-year contract extension with AEW, so you're going to have this weird 2-month period where
Well, they could always buy out the end of the contract.
they could, but that would just go into the cost of buying Raw, right? That would just get
Because
folded into it.
NBC Universal is still in the battle for Raw. They are too going for NBA.
Yeah, and I think Disney, ESPN has stuck their nose into it.
So
too,
I
as
mean,
well.
the reality is, let's say NBA stays with Warner Brothers. Don't think NBC Universal's not going to try to keep Raw too. They will, but they're not buying the full package right now because they're trying to get NBA rights too. So it's kind of like whenever the first domino falls, they're all going to start pulling into play.
Yeah, I mean that's the big money, right? That's like a decade-long contract. So that's
NBA.
going to be that's going to be
Serious
like
money there, too.
stupid money.
All right, a couple debuts happened in the past week or so. I think you talked about Dolph Ziggler debuting in New Japan last week. Oh,
Yep.
It was that day. That's right.
It was literally that
That
afternoon
day.
or evening. Yeah.
Well, that day or the following day, there was another debut in New Japan. Jack Perry got in the ring, attacked someone, and then tore up his AEW contract in the ring, supposedly.
Beard is a great addition.
Oh, I thought you weren't a fan of it.
Well, if he's going to go heel,
Yeah.
if he's going to go heel, the beard helps.
Yep.
So
So that's not a work. Did he really quit AEW?
They have a working relationship
I was about to
together,
say,
so
yeah.
it could go either way.
again, he's trying to get a heel angle, explain why he's there, left on bad terms.
Not crazy about the name, though. Apparently, he's the scapegoat.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a little weird.
Wonder how that translates into
Not
Japanese.
really. It has something to do with CM Punk, obviously.
Well, yeah. But
Well, he could, and this lines him up great
They're
for
blaming him
Forbidden
for it.
Door, come back for a Forbidden Door match or something like that. And like you said, he still has his
I'm
foot.
not sure it works as a wrestling name, but whatever.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Again, but that's very Japanese style. That's
Right.
not American style.
And in other wrestling news, a legend is back making headlines. Hulk Hogan saving a woman from an overturned car after an accident. What you gonna do, brother?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What you gonna
A
do?
lot of people not giving him any credit at
No.
all. Nobody is
he
giving him
found religion. He got remarried.
Nobody's
he's saving
giving him-
people.
any room to breathe. They're still like, he's a vile racist.
Mhm.
He's a terrible person. Okay. All right. Whatever.
I met Hulk Hogan before.
If you want, and by the way, if you're looking for a good laugh, look up on YouTube the video of Jim Cornette talking about all the lies that Hulk Hogan has told. It is the funniest thing, almost as good as his Vince Russo rants. He it is just a riot. Some of the lies that he's told in his life are just hysterical. Lying just for no reason at all. Just lying to lie.
All right, you got any other headlines?
I do. I have a couple. So
Okay.
we haven't talked very much haven't done any updates on the retirement match for Sting.
Yes.
But we have had a couple of updates. So we kind of talked about how it would be like Sting v. Darby Allin. How do you do it any other way? But then at the same time, he's 64 years old, clearly holding his own in a singles match. Probably not the most entertaining match in the world.
Mhm.
So they've decided to go tag team him and Darby Allin against the Bucks, who are cutting some serious promos. If you didn't watch Wednesday night's Dynamite, at least
Yeah.
check out that promo because that's very good.
There's some speculation that they're also, before that match, they're setting up a tag title match.
Yes.
And they might beat Starks and Bill and bring the titles into his final match.
clearly doing a heel angle and everything. I mean, I think it's good. I think it's a good work. So that should certainly help make the match more interesting and a little less
Well, he can't do a singles match. Come on,
a
let's
little
be
less charitable
that's-
charity or something.
That's why I
don't know.
thought with Darby could do all the heavy lifting and make him look good. He'd just get tossed around for, 10, 15
But at the
minutes.
same time, you kind of have to lose your last match. That's kind of one of the
Right.
things.
I just don't
so.
buy it. I don't think he's done that.
I guess the next interesting question is, does Sting take the pin? We're pretty sure he's going to lose. We know what the match is going to be. Is
He
Sting
might
the one
not
that
lose,
takes the
though.
pin?
They might. I mean, he's been undefeated his entire time in AEW. They might have his last match be
Can I
a
ask a
win.
question? Did we ever come up with a policy for like bold predictions here?
If you're wrong, you get that.
On a side note, I'm going way off the screen here. They're both getting nervous now. I'm going way off topic. What is? We should have like a policy.
Cut.
Like when we like do a bold prediction on this show.
Well, we did make a bunch of bold
I know, but
predictions.
we never really came up with like. There's got to be something to that. And I'd rather we discuss it off air after this or not, right here on camera for everyone, our millions and dozens of followers. I mean, there's got to be a practice of like when we issue a bold statement about something, if it comes true, like we should be like the world champion. Or we should be like, but when we don't get it, something's got to happen. I'm about to give a bold prediction.
You still have some connections in the indie wrestling world.
Yeah, I mean, let me dust them off
I'd
here.
say if you're wrong, you got to take a chop.
Oh, ow.
Yeah, that. Was physical harm when I come in here.
Steel chair to the back.
Hey, you've taken those.
I have taken a few steel chairs, yes.
We should do something. I don't know what it is. There should be like another, like when we have the bell, there should be another type of punishment.
I mean, I had an idea that we should have like a gaudy, obnoxious MJF pinky ring to whoever. So that might be an interesting something too. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite as
We gotta do
flamboyant, but still
something.
flamboyant.
Or we get a name or something. I don't know. There's gonna be something. But get back on topic. I don't think it's his last match. I think Darby screws him over in what's supposed to be his big final match, and then that leads to a one-on-one match. That will be his last match. I think there's a whole story here. I've been down this road before, these type of TNA, AEW retirements of the old legends. It's never what it says it's going to be. It is what it is. I think he's going to screw him over in the tag match, and that's going to be moved to a singles match, which will be his retirement match.
At All In?
I don't know, whatever you want, wherever. I don't know. I just don't think it's his last match. That's my bold prediction.
Darby Allin turns heel.
Does that make sense a little bit?
Maybe.
I mean, does it make...
I mean, yeah, I could see it happening. I don't think.
Is it? Yeah, I would say. Is it within the realm of physical reality? Yes.
I know get another 3 months out of it.
I think it's very unlikely, though.
I think they would get a hell of a lot of flack if they've been teasing his last match for all these months, and then it doesn't happen.
But they advertise it so much and it gets screwed. It has just a justification for another real.
Darby wants to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah, and going on and screwing him over and going 1v1 would do that.
How does he do
No,
that?
he actually wants to go climb Mount Everest.
Legitimately. So how does he?
about that.
I think he does this match with Sting. He disappears. He takes a month or two, climbs Mount Everest, then comes back just in time for an all-in build-up, and then maybe wins a championship or something because he really should have a belt at this point. All right, moving on. AEW Dynamite, I just want to note from Wednesday night, is in a little bit of a recovery mode here. 891,000 and a .33 in the target demographic, which is very good numbers.
Mm-hmm. They did a really nice tribute to Jay Briscoe on that show too. 1 year since he died.
They did, yeah.
But his brother did a really nice thing, and they did the video and everything. It was cool.
And actually, the show opened over 1 million viewers for the first time in a long time.
Wow.
So
Good.
yeah. So in
Maybe
recovery
one of
mode.
my predictions is
The
coming
last-
through this year.
That's right, one of your bold predictions. Last one I have, Lucha Blog just announced this morning, new sign. They're teasing it. It hasn't been officially announced. Black Taurus has reached a deal with AEW
Black Taurus.
/ Ring of Honor. AAA owns the rights to the name. So seems
Are they just going to call him the Black Bull? Or?
seems unlikely that, or they could just call him Taurus or something, you know.
Or Tony Khan would just buy it.
Or right, that
Could do
was
that, too.
another thing. I mean, if he wants to, how bad does he want it? But I mean, he's had some excellent matches in AEW. Hasn't obviously been involved in any storylines or anything at this point, but could maybe see some kind of a faction forming, some kind of a lucha faction,
That would
something
be
like that happening. But
I said it before. His matches with the Kingo recently were phenomenal.
definitely kind of redefining what it means to be in a big man, little man match.
Yep.
So pretty cool.
All right, so let's get into our first main topic here. It came out this week, the working schedule going forward for Roman Reigns. The PLE schedule, I should say. He's not going to be at Elimination Chamber next month, as many people thought he would be. So there's not going to be a Rock match at Elimination Chamber like a lot of people thought there would be. Currently, his schedule is Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, a Summer Saudi show, and then SummerSlam. So 4 appearances in the next 8 months.
There'll be no matches to build up for that. It'll all be Mike time.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heyman. It'll be Mike time for Paul Heyman.
So I couldn't help but going back and thinking several years ago when Brock Lesnar was the champion and he would disappear for 4 months at a time. Everybody fucking hated that.
And they all blamed it on Vince.
Mm-hmm.
They said it was a bad decision by Vince.
And Roman Reigns at that time was there every week, and everybody couldn't stand him either because he was doing the babyface thing that nobody liked. But how is this any different?
It's not. I'm looking up how old Roman Reigns.
46? 43?
No, he's 42, 43.
He's 38.
He's
Wow,
38?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Whoa.
So, but I was looking
part-time.
that up because I don't know why he's part-time. Like, what is
Exactly.
he doing? Like, I understand, like, when The Rock started to go to part-time, he was doing movies, and, like, same thing with John Cena. But, like, Roman Reigns isn't doing anything that I'm aware of outside of WWE that justifies him being away. So I always kind of had the idea that maybe it's, like, a health-related thing. They just don't want to publicize it. He went through his whole leukemia and stuff and all that. And I was like, but what is he's 38 years old in the prime of his wrestling career. I don't understand, unless they're going with a sales pitch of he's a better draw when he's not there all the time, which is what they kind of did with Roman Reigns. I think that was what Edge was going through with his renewal. Like, we don't want you here all the time, so we want you to be a draw when you are here. I don't know like what that process is and why he's only at 4 pay-per-views.
What is it?
I don't get it, and he's not that old. It's not like
Right.
he's 45. I mean,
AJ Styles is what, 42, 44?
Yeah.
No, he's older than that.
LA Knight is 40, 41. They're there every week.
So
Randy
I don't
Orton,
understand. I don't understand the whole booking status of Roman Reigns.
Styles is 46.
46.
Yeah, I just don't understand that vision of what they're trying to accomplish. And
Yeah.
and obviously his Royal Rumble match is already picked.
Knight
What's
is
going
41.
on there. So WrestleMania, but it's got to be either Cody Rhodes or The Rock.
Well, yeah, that's my next question. They have been setting up a Rock match. It's not going to be at Elimination Chamber now. Likely that pushes it to WrestleMania. But then what's that mean for Cody? Is he getting pushed out of another match?
I mean, I can see The Rock. I can see The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And I can see the sales pitch to Cody is he's going to drop the title to you at SummerSlam. Man, it's not WrestleMania. It's not a WrestleMania moment, but if you're Cody Rhodes, what are you more looking for? Your WrestleMania moment or winning the title? If you really want the title and you want to be the face of the company, I'll wait till SummerSlam. If that's what you really want me to do, I'll wait till SummerSlam. I get the title then. I mean, are you really going to complain about them moving it off for WrestleMania? I mean, it is The Rock. I mean, it's not like he's getting bumped. Now, if he was getting bumped for CM Punk, we may have some problems. But it's like, okay, I'm getting bumped for the most entertaining superstar / actor in the industry right now. Yeah, I'm going to get bumped.
I'd still be pissed about it.
I'd be pissed, but the idea is, I'm getting bumped. Like, I mean, it's The Rock. I mean,
Yeah, it does seem like he's getting treated like his dad.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. He's getting dustied.
I mean, I understand it from a business point. I mean, clearly The Rock is more of a draw, but for this guy who helped create a rival company to leave that company to come back to you, I kind of feel like there should be a bit more consideration. Or maybe that's just me being naive. I don't know.
part of me still thinks there's a plan. There's a plan. Rather that I always love.
And there's no guarantee the Rock match is happening.
Right,
either.
but you got to look at things like who actually gave out the statement about the events. Because I saw that too. Was that an actual statement from a WWE, or was that just someone reporting it? I read it.
I don't remember.
I remember. First off, there's a chance that information is not accurate. I mean, we've been down. We're living. One thing we had to start recognizing.
It was on Wrestling News Sources where I got.
I read it. So I saw it too. And and we are living in a day now of Triple H running the show, and what we've learned is what Triple H puts out isn't. And Triple H seems very interested in surprising people, and seems very interested in the media not having the
That's a
exact.
possibility.
So the idea that an Elimination Chamber match couldn't pop up at the last minute, I think it's a possibility. I think there's a plan. I don't think they're walking away from Cody. I really truly believe Triple H has a lot of respect for Cody and wants Cody to be the face of the company. And I really think, obviously that's Roman right now, but I really think the plan is Cody Rhodes to be the face one way or another. Rather he's the face of the company and Roman's more the heel or whatever. I do feel like Cody Rhodes is definitely in the picture. I mean, I think there's still a strong possibility it's WrestleMania. They just come up with a plan that's not yet advertised.
All of this is based off the assumption that Roman Reigns loses the title.
Oh, here comes Jeremy's prediction.
Well, yeah, that was one of my predictions too. That
What
was
if he
gonna
doesn't?
keep the title?
What if he tries to break Hogan's record and go to September or however
That's what
long
you
that
said.
is? I don't know.
So if that is true, they clearly have a schedule for him. They know what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, they know now whether he's going to break Hogan's
So
record.
I mean, it's going to be a stupid summer show. He's not no one important. Okay, it won't be Cody Rhodes there. It won't be The Rock at the Saudi show. So you have two pay-per-views that we're looking at: WrestleMania and SummerSlam. He's booked for Royal Rumble. Nothing good is going to happen at the Saudi show. Okay, Rock's not going there, right? I mean, can we agree that Rock's not going to fly out to the Saudi Arabia show? And they're not going to waste the Cody Rhodes angle on that one. So we were down to WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Maybe we have it reversed, and The Rock shows up at WrestleMania, screws over Roman Reigns for the title. Cody wins it, and then those two go head-to-head at SummerSlam. Maybe The Rock and Roman Reigns storyline is starting, but it's really not going to take place until SummerSlam. Where's SummerSlam this year?
That kind of...
Is it in a demographic that relates to The Rock? Well,
I think it's in Minnesota. I think.
No, that's WrestleMania next year.
Because like if it was like in like Florida or something, like that'd be right in the or LA or
It hasn't been announced yet.
So-
I want to say they were looking at international for SummerSlam too.
I thought I read that too.
Because Backlash is in Lions.
I think
Yep.
I think there's a possibility that The Rock Roman Reigns storyline that we're really seeing that everyone thinks is like right away really isn't gonna be for a while. And Rock showing his I should be at the head of the table screws over Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and now I'm at the head of the table.
That
You know, you
I
don't know
feel
how
like
they're gonna
that
go.
just diminishes Cody's win then, though, if they do it that way.
There have been some reports that Cleveland is in the final running.
Well, The Rock
for
likes
SummerSlam.
Cleveland.
So we were talking about this before we record. Then there's not going to be a Rock match at Elimination Chamber. Is he going to show up in Australia though?
Maybe he calls him out. I think there's going to be something at the Elimination Chamber. I just think it just hasn't been reported yet. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't. I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts right now, and I don't know where all these. There's a lot of people going right towards the wall, and no one really knows who's going where. You know.
Could all be a work too. I mean,
Yeah, it could.
Maybe they leaked it. They're all about surprises, so maybe
Yeah.
they leaked this work.
Maybe this
And
whole
he
Rock
does
thing
show
will
up.
work. Maybe the whole Rock thing just.
Yeah, he does show up at
a tease.
Elimination Chamber. You know, I think
Mhm.
it's likely that they go that way. I mean, if we know that they kept the CM Punk thing under wraps, if we think it's a work with this whole Charlotte Flair being out 10 months thing could be a work. It could easily
Sasha
be a
Banks.
work.
Everything could be a work.
Yeah, like the whole thing. It's making us question everything, which is both good and bad.
Yep.
So
then the other thing is, the other major headline we're talking about is Damian Priest. Where's he fit into everything with his cash in, Money in the Bank?
This is what. This is
Kind
what.
of. I said they've pivoted to the R-Truth thing. It kind of feels like Judgment Day is kind of on the downswing, and
So when is Money in the Bank?
June,
June. Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So that's when that runs out.
Yep.
So when a new champion is crowned, the old one's no longer there, right? Or when the new briefcase handed, you can't have multiple Money in the Banks, I believe.
No, you can't. It's
Okay.
1 year.
So he has till June, right? So you got to start asking yourself this question: can we agree that WWE gives the briefcase to someone that they want to be a champion? How many people really lost? We've had this conversation
No.
before.
CM Punk.
Yeah, a lot of
Alright.
people have lost.
Now let's be fair. Damian Priest. Everyone praises Damian Priest behind the scenes.
Sorry. It's going to be July 6th is Money in the Bank, and it's in Toronto.
All right. So Damian Priest is advertised as the future star. Do you really think they're going to have him use the briefcase and not win a title? He's going to win a title. Is he going to? Let's answer the first question. Does he win a title when he cashes in? Yes or no?
Yes.
Depends on who he cashes it in on.
But a title.
Do you think he's going to, whatever he does, do you think he's going to
title.
win it?
Could be the NXT championship.
Okay, yes. Then yes. Yeah.
Does
And
he
I
win
agree,
a
yes.
title?
So now we all say yes. Now let's start pivoting to what title is an option. It's not Roman Reigns. Clearly, he has enough going on over there. Unless they just shock the world, and I keep using Triple H. Maybe Triple H shocks the world, and I have. So now that leaves us with the World Heavyweight Belt. Seth Rollins and CM Punk, right? So who's he going to take that title? Is CM Punk going to have the belt for? Is CM Punk going to win it at WrestleMania just to lose it a month later?
Not a month later.
2 months later?
Not 2 months later.
What is it? 3
The night of.
Thinking minutes.
minutes? Do you think CM Punk's going to win it and then lose it minutes later? You think CM Punk's going to allow that?
Sparking the next rivalry.
So that
Going into SummerSlam.
So not only do we have the whole Rock Cody Rhodes, that whole storyline where everyone's going, you have the Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Damian Priest, where are they all going?
What would I like to see? What I'd like to see is CM Punk and Seth Rollins go at it, have a hell of a Donnybrook, some kind of crazy stipulation. Seth Rollins retains the title, and then Priest comes out and steps on his face and wins the belt. And then Seth Rollins disappears, gets rehabbed, takes a break, does what he has to do.
Where does CM Punk go from there? He's showing up at WrestleMania to lose?
Well, that's not the point. When you're that old, your job is to put the young guys over. Damian Priest is the next great thing.
Stop.
And that's
Hold
what you
on.
do.
Sorry, man. Hold on for a second. You telling me you think CM Punk is going to lay down for people?
I think.
I don't think so.
I think he's going to do whatever Triple H tells him to do.
I don't think
but
CM Punk's at that day and age where I'm just going to be laying down for everybody. There's going to be a major title run in the future for CM Punk. So rather that's now, later, he's going to have a title run.
That would be very unfortunate for that title.
I do see that
You really
happening
think
too,
CM
though.
Punk came back not to have a title run? I mean, come on.
I think he came back to make money.
He came back and he's going to have they got to rebuild. He's going to be a champion at some point.
I mean, he's going to have to start taking roids or something. I mean, he doesn't look like a champion. He barely talk. He doesn't talk like he used to.
But the people like him. That's all that matters.
Then you don't have to why put a belt on him? If the people like him without the belt, why would you need to put a belt
You think
on
he's
him?
going to have a belt?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going to have to have a belt.
Yeah.
So
I'm not, like I said, the Damian Priest is going to turn. I think he's going to win the world championship because it's Raw. So he's going to win the world championship. The question is, if CM Punk wins it, how long does he hold it? And I think if he does, he holds it for 5 seconds.
This is no offense to Damian Priest or anything, but I can't see him having a world championship and it feeling like a world championship.
I agree.
I think if he wins the world
I don't see-
championship,
he's
that's
not-
just
he's-
going to cement it as a secondary title.
He's not a world champion yet. Sorry. He's just not. I mean, that's my opinion. Maybe they have him win.
And especially since a few years ago when they said you
So-
can use the briefcase on any title.
Was
so
he
US,
ever
whatever.
NXT champion?
He was North American champion.
So maybe he goes NXT. Maybe he goes NXT.
That
I don't
would be
know.
out of nowhere.
And it wouldn't line up. I mean, he's supposed to be the big dog of that faction. He's already had Dom win the North American Championship. Obviously, Ray is NXT Women's Champion. So, I mean,
the next question you really go over is if Damian Priest comes back and wins it, he's jumping right over Gunther.
that's what I'm
he's
saying.
jumping right over him.
Well,
Like, he's
that's
right
the thing.
over.
That's the purpose of Money in the Bank.
Right. I mean, like he's just jumping right over. This guy who's
Gunther's-
had the Intercontinental Championship for 400, whatever, some of the days now, whatever it is.
600 now. I
600.
think.
He's now over him.
Gunther's not in the picture for a world title conversation.
Should be based off what having the title for 6
He
months.
should be,
or
but that's
6
not
months.
what the Intercontinental title is anymore.
And that's not what they're doing, right? They could be angling him for that, but they're not angling him for anything. He's still down here doing this little faction shit.
They're
hanging
angling
on to
for
his
Brock
belt.
Lesnar at WrestleMania. Him versus Brock Lesnar. at
Yeah, and
WrestleMania.
nobody's
Makes no
even
sense.
really, again, there's not really an angle here at all. The angle is, what's Damian Priest going to do? He's not going to go after the Universal title. He's going to go after the World Championship. He could take it off either one of their shoulders. Like, I don't see a world in which Money in the Bank retains any value at all unless you win it when you turn it in. You'd be stupid not to time it perfectly. So your options are, to me, logically, the two options are Seth Rollins kills himself, retains, and then loses the title, which is probably the way that makes the most sense. Or you have CM Punk win it, and then you take the belt off of CM Punk like immediately, because you're not going to challenge Punk the next week and use your Money in the Bank. You would just run to the commissioner and have the commissioner set up the match for you the next week or whatever. So it makes the most sense. Everybody keeps their pride. CM Punk is already getting over huge, so he doesn't have to hold the belt. Priest wins the belt, which makes sense. Money in the Bank retains its dignity. Seth Rollins can walk off into the sunset as the first champion, get the break that he needs. Obviously, he needs to take a loss. He can't disappear with the belt. So that is what makes the most sense to me, to keep everybody as whole as is humanly possible. And then you can start pivoting Gunther. Now you can start pivoting Gunther there. Damian Priest can hold it for 6 to 12 months, and you can start pivoting Gunther, who really is the next guy that should be in line
Priest
to do
holding
that.
that belt for 6
And then
months?
now you have a little
Yikes.
faction. You have a faction
Jinder Mahal
situation.
2.0.
Now you can have the Gunther European faction going up against Judgment Day, and you can
Or
build
maybe
some
he
heat
doesn't
there.
win it at all. I mean, I guess that's a possibility too.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a chance he just doesn't win at all. And
Maybe he holds on to it until Money in the Bank, and then earlier in the night he turns it in.
Maybe he gets screwed over by Finn Balor or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Maybe he's supposed to have a match. I mean, you can go crazy. He's supposed to have a match for the title, turns it in earlier, wins the title earlier in the night, and then goes against that same guy to defend it later in the. I mean, you can do some crazy stuff.
Well, they got a lot of shit to put together.
I think that's what they really want to do, is they need to do something different, something that hasn't been done yet.
And this standard turn in at the last minute thing, yeah, I mean, it works, but it's not
It hasn't
exciting.
worked for
and
everybody.
And if you're going to do that, why don't you do that at any one of the other? You've had 9 months, 12 months to do this. There have been plenty of opportunities. I mean, at least they tease it with the women's Money in the Bank. Oftentimes,
Or I wonder if they can do like a storyline a little bit to like what AEW did, where let's say Rhea Ripley loses the belt, and she goes in and forces the briefcase to be given to her, so she can go back and claim her belt.
They'd have to do some storyline work to make that make sense.
I mean, there's got to be.
If Dom had the briefcase, I'd say that makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you'd have to do some
But if
serious
she's
story
a
work.
true leader, she could say, as a leader of this group, I want that. I don't know. Like, there's
They'd
just
have
so
to-
many things.
They'd have to change the name of the faction to Cuckold Day. if
Or maybe
they
she
do that,
grabs
so.
out of his hand after losing. Maybe he's ringside and she grabs out of his hand and goes and turns it in and like he can't. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know.
Controversy.
They got to get themselves out of. They're in a pickle right now, a big one. They're trying to figure out what they got to do. Like there's a lot of people. And there's a good 6 people that are.
Maybe
should have
maybe
the
he
belt.
just keeps the briefcase and it runs out. I don't think that's something that's happened before.
I don't think
he shows up to Money in the Bank's like, oh crap, I still have this.
That definitely makes him look bad if that's the case. But
I don't think they go. It then takes away from the whole thing of having it.
that would throw mud on him big time. That would make him look really incompetent and stupid, and would kill the faction.
I
as
think
well.
it's already going downhill though.
Yeah.
All right, last bit of news here. PW Insider released their 2023 awards, and we're going to go through those now real quick. Dan and I are going to try and guess who won. I guess they're broken up into categories, right?
There, I got 13 categories here, so we
13
can hit this
categories.
pretty quick here. You ready? All right, let's start at the top. Wrestler of the Year. Who was the wrestler? Now, this is by fan voting.
Dom.
Dom, Wrestler of the Year. Cody Rhodes. Wrestler of the Year is Seth Rollins. Is the Wrestler of the Year. He did defend the title a lot. He's got a gimmick that goes way over with people.
Oh, I can't stand
It
that.
kind of makes sense to me. Woman of the Year. Woman of the Year.
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley. Yeah, not really much of a competition there, to be honest. Most popular wrestler of the year,
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes. The merch sales were just insane.
To
Crazy.
be fair, we
numbers
knew
of
that
Cody
one
Rhodes.
already ahead of time.
Faction of the
Kayfabe.
year.
Judgment
Faction
Day.
of the year.
Bloodline.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. One faction of the year. Tag team of the year.
Ooh.
Not
Kevin Owens, whatever the other one is.
Sami
Sami
Zayn.
Zayn.
ZKO, as I
Yeah,
call
whatever
them.
they call themselves.
Usos broke up earlier in the year. I'll just say Usos. I don't know.
Get your mind out of the gutter. FTR.
Oh, good on them.
And they were a very good tag team.
Yep.
Match of the year for
Ospreay,
2023.
Omega.
I can't even think of a match quick enough to name on there.
It was a good match, but it shouldn't win.
Oh boy.
I don't know. Who is it? I can't think of one.
Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair.
Oh, that's what I said in my... Yeah, that makes sense.
That wasn't match of the year.
That was a good
though.
match.
It was
That
a good
It was
match.
a good match, but not match of the year.
Most inspirational performer. Again, this is
Like,
good.
What's the rules for that? Like,
yeah, that's
This is good. If I was to guess, I would say make people want to become a wrestler. Just looking at who
Ricochet.
won.
I'm going on a lead.
Dom Mysterio.
Mark Briscoe.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I can do that. It's very inspirational. If he can do
well,
it, I can do
I
it.
think it has more to do with his brother dying and he's
course.
transitioning to singles.
Of course. Yep.
But
Comeback of the year. Who had the comeback of the year? In
CM Punk.
Trinity.
what?
Because he was already in wrestling, so it's not really a comeback, you know. He stepped
Okay.
away for 90 days, was it 60 days or whatever it was, and came right back. Most improved.
Wait a minute. Isn't Trinity the female one?
Yes.
Yeah, Trinity fought too.
He was saying CM Punk wasn't. Okay.
Oh, I got confused there for when you were
Yeah.
saying he. I was like, what? What's going on here? All right.
Most improved in
Um,
2023.
Dom.
Most improved?
Most improved performer.
Small Joe.
LA Knight.
Okay.
Again, improved a lot.
I don't think that was really because of him, though. I think that was more because the company was pushing.
Rookie of the year.
Dom.
Dom.
He's not a rookie this year. Sol Ruka.
Never heard of him.
NXT. It's her.
Indie Wrestler of the Year.
I'm out.
Orange Cassidy.
Indie Wrestler of the Year is Orange Cassidy.
I don't know.
Matt Cardona.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah. He's been doing a lot.
He's exceptional, dude. He's very good. Feud of the Year. Two more. Feud of the Year.
Uso, the whole bloodline, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens.
Cody Rhodes bloodline.
Bloodline, Sami Zayn.
Yes.
But they didn't mention Kevin Owens.
Whatever, still counts.
But yeah, I mean, that was one of the most interesting storylines of the year. All right,
I thought
last
that was
one.
2022.
Last one. I know this is going to be the hardest one, so think on it hard. Most hated wrestler of the year.
CM Punk.
Dom.
Dom Mysterio.
I thought
Got
CM
the
Punk-
most, too.
I thought the internet trolls would
I would say,
hijack
close to the mark on all of them, but
Except for that match of the year.
not,
I couldn't even think of one.
not a lot of overwhelming winners. I guess the only real overwhelming winner was, probably Woman of the Year. She got like 50% of the vote, but a lot of winners like in the 20s as far as percentage grab and stuff. So some pretty close ones, some pretty close votes. So there you go.
All right. On that note, that's episode 41 for this week. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Get our Twitter numbers up there because or X numbers. Get our X numbers up there. And
Jeremy can't follow anyone until we get more.
that's right.
Yeah, I think I
He's
can
on a
follow.
ban.
I think I can follow one right now. Who's it going to be?
That's our
Vote below.
buffer.
Who should be my next? Who should be our next follow? Vote below.
On that note, you keep watching. We'll keep wrestling with business. See ya.